why are Indians being hated as travelers?
It's also because we've created that reputation for ourselves.
ये इंडियंस बैठते हैं तो लोग जज करते हैं ये कर रहे हैं everything is fine.
Is it the perception, is it reputation, or is it a reality?
Indians are hated. No, Indians are loved as well.
I think maybe it's the social media.
So I would take it with a pinch of salt.
We as Indians are little louder.
We love drama.
It's always sensationalized.
Welcome to Unpopular Opinion. It's not a vodcast, it's not a podcast, it's more of a conversation with friends, with the industry experts. And with us, we have Naresh, Isha, and Dipti. So first, the most important topic is why are Indians being hated as travelers?
It's relative. So, but B, more importantly, I think it's about cultural sensitization on both sides.
True.
Right. So today, Indians, even though we are traveling in volumes, we are still a relative minority on board cruise ships.
Yes.
Right. That essentially means two things. One, share of voice is lesser. Right. So your cultural behavior is not dominating or driving the onboard cultural style, etiquette, behavior, all of that. But the other side of it is also that Indians as ethnicity in the history of cruising have only recently started adopting cruise holidays. We are now seeing the new generation of cruisers come on board, and you already see a shift in behavior. I think what's unique to cruising also is that it's a melting pot of nationalities and cultures, right? And any other holiday experience that you have on land, you have the ability to stay within a bubble, right? But on a cruise ship, everyone is in close quarters.
Yes.
So when you are interacting in close quarters with other cultures, everyone needs to be culturally sensitive, right? And I think as Indians, because we are English speaking, we are often misunderstood, right? Because people think that, okay, you speak the language, you dress the part because we like to dress up, but you don't necessarily mirror my behavior, right? And you don't necessarily understand the international way of doing things. And I think that's also changing. And I think it's segment specific. We were hearing about a story over dinner the other night on, a group of farmers from Gujarat who went on an incentive or something like that. Now, naturally, their behavior on a cruise ship is going to be dramatically different from, 3 generations of an industrialist family who's going on a cruise ship, right? So that etiquette neutralization as such, I think is something that, one, culturally will take a little time, and it's a transition. And Indians are fantastic rule followers, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You take us outside of India, and we are so good at following rules. We do a great job. So it's really a matter of time that we understand that, okay, this is not allowed, right? And this is not preferred. But at the same time, I feel that, again, it comes back to the stakeholders. And it's not about who's right, who's wrong. There's no right or wrong in this. It's just about sensitization that, okay, on a cruise ship, there's a buffet. And while in our culture, we take plates back, when you are sharing the buffet with a bunch of other cultures, some cultures are very sensitive about, contamination in a different way.
Absolutely.
Right? So the way we think about contamination or cross-contamination in a kitchen, maybe others think about it while you're actually consuming the food. So there's various ways to convey it respectfully as well. And sometimes I think this whole hate concept becomes about you're doing something wrong, and it becomes targeted, and then you get stereotyped. And it's just frustration, right? Because you're like, hey, I don't like this. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Right? Because people don't understand why Indians are doing it. right? And
Correct.
Indians don't understand why they have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
think it'll get better, and I think we all again as a community need to work towards helping that transition and egging it along. And yeah, with the next generation, it's already changing.
Our cultures change across the geographies in the country. Now, the bottom line, which she covered it pretty well, is there are very few of us who've actually been on a cruise ship. As the category grows, people evolve as well. Indians love to live the moment. So possibly, I would say it's inexperience, or can I say it's unpolished joy. But the moment you kind of teach them that this is the way you behave, these are the kind of etiquettes to follow. She just mentioned it. Okay, we follow the rules as well. It's just that somebody has to tell us initially, and that's where our role comes in.
Any experience you want to share?
Well, I agree with both of them. Like we as an Indians are little louder, and we just like to have unfiltered vacations and have fun and be around. But yes, as we rightly said, we need to educate them that our enjoyment cannot be a disturbance to anybody else. But adding all that, we are definitely evolving. I've seen the change as well coming through. We are getting little more patience when we are standing in the buffet line. We are. There is happening. I mean, I'm saying it's both sides, but we are getting better.
I'll just add one last thing, which is that I also feel that it is also the onus is on the cruise line. If you want more Indians on board, then you need to have an international experience on board.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can't say, okay, this is the way we do things, and that's how you have to fit the mold. International audiences, and it's not just Indians, it's also, it could be Chinese, it could be Africans, it could be Europeans, and it's everyone who's having fun.
Yes.
After a few drinks, gets loud.
Gets loud, yeah.
Right? So therefore, the cruise lines that are attracting India, and I think all three of us experience that, and of course, in your case, you're the brand itself, that cruise lines who are wanting more Indians on board are also open to taking feedback and trying to internationalize the experience more. And I think those are the brands that will succeed in our market, to be honest.
Yeah, and like today in the morning, okay, in this room, before we could all start, there was this one guest who was sitting, and he just came to us and he says, "What exactly are you guys doing?" I said, "We are talking, whatever." He's like, "Oh, you're from the Indian market. I've been coming on this ship for the past so many years. Okay, I see a lot of Indians coming on board. I love the way they kind of participate. I love the way these kind of enjoy. And it's so nice that you guys are getting us that kind of a tourism in our country." So there's a different perspective to it as well. So it's not just about generalizing it and say that, you know what, Indians are hated. No, Indians are loved as well.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's the social media, because when you post anything good on social media,
it doesn't
exactly. The minute you post something negative,
Yeah.
people want to see it.
Yes.
So I think it's
You're
all the
so right.
number game.
I agree. In fact, I'll give you two examples of this social media thing. So one of the Indianization and this perspective. We had one Indian on a Greenland sailing, right? So he had, by the halfway through the cruise, he had so many fellow travelers come up to him and say, "We're so happy you're on board because we're getting Indian food." We're so excited to see Indian food in the buffet because we love Indian food. So I think it's really sometimes it's just perspective, and it's mismarketed, or algorithms pick up negative more than positive. And the other example of that is that since we do a lot of expeditions, we get a lot of questions for Antarctica on Drake's Passage, right? And 9 out of 10 times people will come up and say, "Oh, Drake's Passage is so scary." You said it to me the other day. That, "Oh, Drake's Passage, oh my goodness." And the reality is, and every time, and this is across multiple brands, it's not the same brand who's telling me this. Every time across multiple brands, what I get to hear is that yes, it can be bad because it is the roughest patch of sea in the world. But at the same time, it's not always like that. In fact, the videos you see online are the exceptions, right? And that's really what it is. The reality is that it's never that bad, almost never that
because
bad.
we love drama.
Because we love
We
drama.
love drama.
That's the whole
Yeah,
As Indians,
we love excitement.
Drama. Exactly.
We love drama.
Something. Oh
not
my
just
God,
Indians,
this is
everyone
happening.
loves drama. Who doesn't love drama?
Because
right?
everybody likes to carry some stories, which is interesting to say.
Since we're talking about all these, like the behaviors, the drama, and everything, what do you think is the hit and the miss for the Indians when we are on board?
Well, I would say the hit is definitely how the Indian travelers have, accepted every form of cruising. be it grand cruising, like a big cruise liner, to a scenic river cruising, and even experiencing the adventure expedition cruises. What we miss is, I think it's about the expectations again. Now, the first time cruiser may not understand the cruise culture the way it is. Things like pre booking excursions or tipping policies on board, or experiencing beyond the buffet, having a
Specialty.
specialty restaurants. These little things, which I think it's not been very well educated or told them. It's just the cabin, it's just the buffet, this is what it is, these are the shows. But there are a lot of experiences which is beyond that as well, which I don't think so are highlighted correctly. There is a learning curve which is happening.
I'm going to actually, try and challenge this whole discussion that we're having to say that, but why are we blaming the consumer? Why are we blaming the traveler? Cruises are not booked in isolation,
Yeah.
right? There's human touch with a cruise experience,
Yes.
with a cruise purchase at every level. Again, it comes back to the stakeholders. Why are we blaming the customer? Customer ka first is on the cruise for the first time, but
Right.
as cruise specialists, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Or as a travel agent, when you're selling a cruise, you have to make sure that you are selling what the customer wants. And it comes back to Naresh's original point on, are we focusing on value or are we focusing on experience?
True.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So when you are selling a cruise to a customer saying, okay, you want to spend $3,000 or you want to spend $5,000, fine, that's the budget. Let's park that aside. Let me understand, what are you expecting from the cruise? That's what a travel agent, travel seller, advisor, concierge, whatever you want to call yourself. That's what the responsibility and the job really is. That's what the cruise line is giving the commission for.
Yeah.
Right? Because the whole point of it is that you educate and empower your consumer to have a fabulous experience. I don't think it's the consumer's fault. So I think, never believe what you see on social media and take it as the gospel truth, because it's always sensationalized. So I would take it with a pinch of salt. But B, also do your own research, both consumers and travel sellers.
Many years back, the only cabin category that would sell out of India was interior staterooms, 2 nights cruises.
Wow.
Today, it's easier to sell a 3-nighter than a 2-nighter. It's easier to sell a balcony cabin than an interior cabin. So the consumer has also evolved, they understand. So there's been a hit as well. Okay, the industry has worked hard to kind of change it. Now the objective is to take it from a 3 nights to a 4 nights and a 5 nights and a 7 nights. That will come is when you start positioning it as an experience. This shift of 2 nights, an interior cabin to a balcony and a 3 nights is also because of a contribution of a lot of other stakeholders into it. So yes, there have been hits as well. And it's only going to evolve.
What is cruising to you personally, Isha?
It's just a different way of seeing the world.
And what about you? What's cruising to you, Naresh?
Okay, I'll start with my first day. Okay, my first day on job.
Okay.
I'm talking 15 Jan 2003.
Wow.
Okay, was on a ship. The moment I saw that ship, I said, "Oh my God, what a humongous ship!" And that ship was possibly half the size, okay, of the ship that we're on. Can I be a little bit philosophical here?
Sure.
Okay, that's my journey. Okay, for me, it's a emotion in motion. Okay, that's the way I look at it. The sea here, she's vast.
True.
At the same time, she's calm. However, wherever you may reach, if you start thinking, I am the one, you've lost the game. I think it's taught me to stay calm, not be very impulsive. For me, it's a place to unwind myself. Okay, or can I say it's a place for me to disconnect, to reconnect.
Interesting.
That's
Quite
it.
philosophical. Yes.
I took your permission for that.
And what about you, Dipti?
If I have to say my journey from an ocean liner to a river cruising, I think every chapter has unfolded a beautiful travel personality within me, and I've learned, evolved, and I am ready for more adventure and experience.
Nice.
Okay, that was also philosophical.
It gets
You-
that
exactly.
Exactly.
I'm feeling pressured to say.
Okay, you want to add something? Because technically
I
we all
think-
become philosophers, right? After looking at the
I
sea.
think cruising is just being out at sea.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
When you're out at sea, whether you're on a tiny boat or you're on a massive cruise ship, it just I think it's humbling because it makes you realize how inconsequential you are on this planet,
Totally.
right? And I think
I
that's
used to
what
be so impulsive, Isha,
Yeah.
at one point of time. Matlab, things have come, I have to react.
Hmm.
Okay. Now I'm a changed personality. I'm calmer.
Hmm.
Okay. So I don't immediately react.
Yeah.
Give it some time. Okay. And then possibly that's something which I've learned from the sea.
From being at sea.
From being at sea. That's what she's taught me.
Hmm.
So yes, it changes your personality. It changes your complete outlook towards life. Okay. Towards yourself.
Hmm.
So you kind of find yourself better being on a cruise ship.
So you
So
see,
it's
happier. I
access.
would say I'm
So cruises give you access
Yes.
to being, as close to the ocean.
True.
It's like, with hikers, you talk to someone who does mountaineering and they will probably give you a similar response.
Similar response. Yeah.
Yes.
But not everyone can, go up to, I won't say Mount Everest because it's very crowded. but not everyone is able to go mountaineering. But
Exactly.
everyone can go on a cruise.
Cruise.
Yes.
And have the privilege of experiencing that.
True.
so you see how the sea changes you
Yeah.
completely. You
Yeah.
find the
Yes.
purpose
Yeah.
within, I
Yeah.
think, for most of us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree.
So, okay, that was Unpopular Opinion, unfiltered, real. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you,
Anita.
Star
Thank
Dream,
you.
for this conversation to happen.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
for letting us talk about our favorite topic.
And having us
cruising.
on board and
Yeah, thank
enjoying
you.
this
The
beautiful
pleasure is all mine in the
experience at
company
sea.
of three beautiful ladies. So what else can I ask for?
And the sea,
At
and
the
the
sea,
sea.
at the sea, don't
Four
forget the
ones.
sea.
Yeah, not four. Okay,
Four.
because she's a she as well.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, really. Thank you so much for
Thank you
this.
so
Yeah.
much,
Thank you
guys.
so much. Thank you, Anita,
Good
for
fun.
being a great person and taking this beautifully.
My pleasure. Always happy to talk about cruising.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.